Okay. Why is that? You're not gonna have any slides, are you?
No, it's just me.
Conversation? I still can't hear you, but I can see your lips move. So thumbs up or thumbs down. No slides, right?
No.
Okay, great. Thumbs up on my side. um, let's see. Broadcast. So now I'm transmitting to YouTube. You should be transmitting to YouTube. And now I should be able to hear you. So you should be live now.
Okay.
Okay, let me get the levels better. Okay. We don't have a very large audience. So this is more of an online discussion.
I can see that. It's
Yeah.
okay. We've got a global audience. This is the Amiga community. People will be watching this video in a million years' time. Or maybe not.
Sorry, I'm having some issues with the audio here. It's you're coming through very warm. The other speakers have not. Okay, let's try that. I'm trying to see where I could sit. Maybe able to make this work over there. And turn that down. Sorry, Dan.
No worries.
Okay. So I think we're ready to get going here. So Dan, give me a short history of Lemon Amiga and your involvement with it.
Well, Lemon Amiga began with Kim Lemon, who comes from, I think, Sweden, and he lived on a small island in Sweden, and he created the website, the database, and everything else. And after he kind of retired, a group of us took over, Predseda and Retrovirus and me and a few others, Sepp, and we now co-run what Kim left over, the database, the forum, everything else. And so it's my job to look after the new games releases, whatever's coming out. I put that on the new games release chart. I also take care of many, not all, of the database editions. Predseda takes care of the newest releases, and I take care of all the obscure stuff that nobody's ever heard of in a million years. I run the Lemon Amiga Games competition with the English Amiga board. So we have just finished Formula 1 Grand Prix, and we're just moving on to Galaxy 89, and there's a Rugby World Cup apparently, so we're also playing a rugby game, World Cup 95, something like that. And so I basically manage the forum, moderate the forum, moderate it for spam and things like that, and move things around. So I'm a general helper on that website.
Yeah, and I definitely am one who appreciates all the hard work that you put in to make Lemon Amiga. I find myself navigating there quite frequently, getting data, so definitely appreciate that. What is your favorite type of game? What do you play when you're going to play Amiga games?
Well, the thing about the Amiga is there isn't just platform games and kind of 2D games and a few driving games like the consoles. There's a massive, vast gamut. So sometimes I might be in the mood for something like a Command and Conquer type game, or a Dune 2, or I recently got into The Shepherd, which is one of these games that nobody's ever heard of. And I recently did a play guide on it as well on the LemonTube YouTube channel that I forgot to mention. So I like to, well, it depends if I want to relax. I think many content creators on the scene will tell you it's very difficult to play a game without thinking, how do I turn this into content? I should really be broadcasting this live so that everybody can see it. And sometimes when it's an obscure game, you wonder how many people will be into that. But obviously the Amiga scene has been going since, the mid-80s. So there are quite a number of viewers out there from all corners of the earth, and they, leaving comments, thanks a lot for helping with this game. And many of them are attracted through the website. They log on, they look at the game. I might put some tips on there. If somebody's put something on there, there'll be some ratings. You can leave a review. And then sometimes in the corner, there might be my guide on it, which covers one or two things. So I've been getting into the Shepherd recently. And I've also been creating my own game, which is kind of not real time, kind of a turn-based adventure, kind of an action game where you go and attack things. So I never thought I'd get into programming on the Amiga, but the Amiga's so versatile. Like I said, last week I was playing Formula 1 Grand Prix in the competition. That's a fast 3D. It takes advantage of the old 40 and the old 60. I hacked the game with the F1 GP editor. I put all the names in there of the modern drivers. I hacked all the dashboard and all the lights and moved everything around, changed the sound effects. And, you know, the days of hacking games, like Doom mods and stuff like that, it all began with the Amiga. You know, it's very hard to imagine that even Formula 1 Grand Prix inspired all those PC games and Xbox, you know, F1 2023 and all the rest of it. It all started with, you know, a concept on the Amiga. So, you know, I'm not really into populous games. I used to be heavily into driving games. I do like the odd platforming now and again. I've completely changed from what I used to be into in my youth, but I'll go through phases. Sometimes I like Kingdoms of England and deep strategy stuff, and sometimes I just want to, you know, get into Deluxe Gallagher and, you know, have a fast, reactive game. So that's the thing with the Amiga. The homebrew scene means there's an infinite amount of weird stuff out there. And so because I'm testing old and weird games for the database, that tends to be what I'm playing. Stuff that nobody's ever played since, you know, 10 years ago or something. But so it all depends. But I guess my favourite all-time game would be something like The Settlers, which is a combination of the strategy and the action. So you can build it up from scratch, and I really do love the population building kind of aspect of that kind of game.
It is funny that you mention Settlers specifically. I remember it came as a demo disc, and it had like 1 or 2 levels, and I must have played that game for like 6 hours. And I'm like, I can't buy this. If I buy this game, like, I'm going to die because I'm going to play myself to death. And then I found
it's going to be a massive time sink, and you'll sink all your life into it. I was definitely like that with 1 or 2 games as well, definitely on the PC.
And then I recently, like 3 years ago, discovered Foundation and got that running on my X5000 and was enjoying that as a Settlers, kind of modernized Settlers a bit. That's fantastic.
I could never get into Foundation, so if you've got any tips, you know, I'll click it on it. Guys moving around. It looks like the Settlers moved to just a different level. Maybe a bit like Civilization as well. What do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of in the middle. I think it has a higher, I think it definitely has a higher learning curve, and that's what makes it a little tougher. But I don't know. The older Settlers is hard to play for me on modern systems, just because it's so low res, and the graphics, like, they just kind of get in the way, where Foundation is kind of similar. I'm finding in my, you know, older age that it's harder to go back to those same games and appreciate them for really what they were, because the preferences and tastes have changed, and my eyesight has changed, all of it. You know, it's all different now. To your point about getting into to try different other games and different genres and starting to explore. Do you remember Shadowgate? Like old Shadowgate. It's one of the. It's from the guys that did Dark Castle, but it's more like a D&D style dungeon crawler. So I found that recently, and I was blown away. I'm like, wait a minute, this thing has windows and icons. Like, I'm dragging a torch around the screen, and I'm saying, is that torch an icon? Is that an Amiga icon? Like, just the design. I got really, I thought it was really quite fascinating. I have to check that out.
Yeah, I always get confused with Shadowlands. I think that's a different game, but that's still got torches in there.
Yeah, I think it's called Shadowgate, and it's brutally hard. I was talking to Dan about this yesterday, about how hard the original games were, because they had to be brutally hard. You only had, you know, so many people. Like, a game came on a disc, you only had so much data space. So if you're only going to be able to make 8 levels, you got to make them really hard so that you don't just play it in 20 minutes and you're done and you put the game away. You know, it was a really hard balancing act kind of in the heyday, where they had to be difficult and rewarding at the same time. And a lot of games did not get that right. And you know, they aren't nearly as popular. So
I think sometimes you're kind of breaking through a bubble with something like, I don't know if you're ever into Populous or Power Monger or anything like that, or even Dungeon Master, you know, all those dungeon crawlers. Yep. There's kind of I'm not sure about this. How do I control it? How does the interface work? How do the icons work? What does, you know, and it can put you off completely before you ever get into the game itself. You know, I can relate to lots of RPGs that I've been scared away from. Many of them isometric view 3D, you know, ultra wonderful games that I just can't break the surface of them. So, and as soon as you do, it's just like, right, I'm in now. This is it. I'm building up my character. I've got the energy. I've got the skills. So there's kind of a glass ceiling. Once you're through it, you're away. But it's like that in modern games, except that they give you a tutorial. Whereas with the Amiga, they never ever gave you a tutorial. If you didn't have the manual, which if you had cracks back in the day, like most of us did in the schoolyard, you were absolutely knackered. You had no idea how to play some games. I mean, stuff like Speedball 2, Lotus, obviously Sensible Soccer. But if it was a deep game, the Amiga could definitely give you that. And like Sim Earth, Sim, you know, whatever it is. And, you know, if you wanted to get that deep, you know, it's there, you can play it. So, yeah, I guess so. Maybe sometimes when they got into the CD-ROM era, when they could put hundreds and hundreds of graphics on the screen, I'm thinking of Myst. You know, sometimes the gameplay just went out of the window and you're thinking, hold on a minute, how do I even approach something like this? Whereas at least if it was a 2D, 3D kind of format, like you say, with the modern handhelds and the, you know, the modern smartphones, you've got to be able to get into it, but it's got to be able to keep you going back. So it has still some difficulty to it. If you beat it straight away, then you just put it down. It has to be some kind of value for money. So definitely designing games, pathetically designing them myself, it's definitely a tightrope. How do you, you know, designing enemy AI? Is it too hard? Is it not, you know, designing this? So, you know, sometimes if the player themselves can't beat a certain thing, you have to take yourself out of that and think, hold on, why can they not? You know, why do they not find the sun cream? Why do they not find the sunglasses? Do I need to put a marker in there to tell them what to do? And obviously you pick them up from modern games that just come up with you know, the guy says, go to the market and pick up the thing. Oh, right, the market, no problem. But with the old games, so it's great with the modern scene. You've got a massive toolbox now of editors and creators that have come out, where, I mean, Backbone and Red Pill and things like that, but also Scorpion. I'm still using Can-Do. So if you combine that with Deluxe Paint, have you heard of Can-Do? I've recently got into Can-Do version 3, and there's virtually no documentation on it at all. So you have to look through every single thing. But yeah, I recently created a game called Holiday, where you go through my holiday snaps and you pick up jackets and you have a good time in Spain, and you can drink and get drunk and you can vomit and you can, you know, get food poisoning. And you think, hold on a minute, the player's got health. How do I take away that health? How do I damage the player? So you've got to think about all these weird things, you know. You give them a life, right? How do you take that away again? So yeah, Can-Do. So my recent game is a war type game where we just moving around, and I thought, well, I've always wanted to make a game. Can-Do makes it possible. I'm no good at Blitz Basic 2. I'm no good at anything like that. I've got Basic Pascal, so the Amiga makes it possible. You know, only Amiga.
Yeah.
So I just got on with it. It was approachable. I just broke through that ceiling and just got on with it.
I love that. No, my buddy Paul, who's here, is a big Can-Do fan, and he did a lot of work in Can-Do a long time ago. I've been playing with Hollywood personally. I like the Hollywood interface and how that all works. So
I'll have to check that out. No problem.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Very cool. I'm looking forward to seeing your game come out so we can check it out. And of course, it'll show up on Lemon in the database.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the holiday game that I made is already up there. I thought, well, if I'm going to make a game, I want to make it high resolution. I want to make it a hand mode game, and then I had to kind of draw back my kind of expectations a little bit. But eventually, I think I got it into 64 colors high res. So it was digitized photographs with digitized audio sound effects and digitized kind of music as well. And the people that were reviewing it, Amiga Bill and people like that, Aaron from Amigos, check out Amigos. They all played it and they had to turn the music off because it was so realistic. They had a copyright strike on it. So I was playing like walk this way, talk this, and it was like using samples.
Yeah.
So yeah, they had to mute the game. So in this game, I've made sure that I've used non-copyright stuff, but I've upgraded it to high-res interlace 16 colors. So it's even better. Like you say, it looks more modern if it's in high-res interlaced. It might look flickery on original native hardware.
Yeah,
but we've got such massive screens these days. You need it that dimension smaller, and then it looks normal. You know what I mean? Like you say, with the settlers, it's like a cartoon. It's like watching Popeye. It's so low res, but at least I thought, well, the Amiga makes it possible. If I went up just a bit higher, I was thinking, well, I can use 4 colors, but then you can do silhouettes. You can do cities in the background, and in 4 colors, ultra high res. It's still possible. So if you've got RTG, it's even better. So I just went through the barriers and thought, well, no, if I'm going to make a game, it better look good, it better sound good, it better have, the Wilhelm scream on it when somebody dies, and all that lot, digitized, and it better be good. But it's only a public domain effort. And there's a Beat Hitler game in there, and there's a Beat, Barbarians game in there, and Beat Diseases and stuff. It's kind of like 5 games in one.
Oh, wow.
So
what's it called again?
Well, they say you can't say cancer anymore and you can't say Nazi anymore, so I've called it Beat Cancer and Beat Hitler.
Okay, that's a provocative title.
Yeah. So, but I've applied for like a cancer fund and said, look, can I put your logo on this game? And then, actual sufferers can go to that. So it shows like a high resolution body and you're going around killing cancers. And I think if people who have ailments can benefit from that, it gives you a sense of achievement, it gives you that motivation. It's like a direct attack on the body, and you're playing it in a video game. I'm thinking, well, maybe it could help people, I don't know. So I've written off and said, if you want this on modern platforms, for people lying in a hospital bed, why not? If they can kill things, why can't they kill their own cancer, metaphorically? So, I don't know. Sometimes you make these dreams come true.
That's fantastic. I wanted to go back to something you had earlier. You mentioned the games competition, and I remember Crazy Cars. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was 12? I don't remember when. It was a long time ago when you did Crazy Cars. As one of them. You guys do it. Can you talk a little bit about the games competition, how people can engage if they want to go check it out and start participating?
Right, well, first of all, I joined in 2011, which seems like a million years ago now. It's over 10 years ago, but before that, it was Crazy Cars. So every month or every 3 weeks, people vote for whatever games they want to vote for. Sometimes if it's an open round, you can vote for anything. Sometimes it's got a theme, so if it's a genre, beat 'em up genre, or an RPG or a platform or a shoot 'em up genre, they can only vote for them. If it's a year round, they can only vote for a game released in a certain year. If it's a mystery round, they can only vote for games that have been released with less than 75 votes on the database, otherwise it's too well known. So we kind of mix it up. There's other themes as well, but every other round it's kind of a theme round. And so at the end of votes, I think it's 3 weeks of the votes, we count them all up, or my assistant John 4P is German, and Predseda is from Czechoslovakia, I think, something like that. So there's like teams from all over the world. We count them all up, whichever one's won, we then play it, and then we play that for usually about 3 weeks, unless it's a double round, and then we play that for 4 weeks. So this is a double round that we're playing at the moment. It's the mystery round. So all you need to do to take part is tune into either lemonamiga.com or the English Amiga board, eab.net, I think it is. And if you scroll all the way down to the competition, the games competition, you'll find what we've been up to. All of them are my posts. I'm live school on there. And you can simply join into the latest post. And if you're interested in playing that game, all you need to do is play it and post a screenshot either on a digital camera or, you know, if you're using a PC or emulator or something like that, post a screenshot of your high score. And just like Twin Galaxies, it'll go up there on a high score table. And if you completed a certain rank, you'll get a game completion star. And at the end, if you're ranked number 1, you'll get the gold medal or the gold trophy at the end, and silver and bronze, and congratulations and a job well done. And sometimes if it's a game, I mean, we haven't played the Settlers yet, unfortunately, but sometimes if it's a game, it's a bit like bushwhacking in a jungle. Sometimes people haven't played these games in a long time.
Yeah.
It's like when we're playing Chuck Rock, sometimes players from all kinds of things will say, well, do you know about this and do you know about that? And on level 3, well, you have to duck here, and they'll post videos and help other people, and they just get a bit further, and then by the end of it, somebody will bushwhack the way through to the last level. Just like Kid Chaos, by the way. You know, somebody will have got there and reported back, oh, by the way, level 5, watch out for this, and then we'll all rank up due to that knowledge. And so we're all explorers, and by the end of it, hopefully if you've played it every few days, or I used to play them every day, just once for, you know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or whatever, then by the end of it, you should be good at it. And the aim is to, if you've mastered the game, by the end of the time, it should be possible, at least, to get yourself number 1 on the highest score table. It doesn't matter who you are or where you've come from, as long as you're not cheating, as long as there's no trainers on there, you can post your score, and you can receive all that prestige for a matter of 0.1 seconds, and then we're going to print out the next round, and it all starts all over again.
No, I love it. I've got kids right now. I don't have time to participate as much, but maybe in the future. I'll
oh yeah, no worries.
It's a lot of fun. If you've not done it, I recommend checking it out and jumping in. It's a little daunting coming in halfway because it is a long-running event, and the points build. But if you can get in at the start and play, as you say, you get exposed to new games, you get to interact with the people on the forums. It's really a lot of fun, and I like checking it out every now and then, seeing what the games are going to be. It's definitely nice. I want to wrap up pretty quickly. A couple of questions. What is the least popular, like lowest rated Amiga game? What's it called? Do you know? Can you look it up?
Well, without looking at it, it'll be easy to look it up in the database. You've got games like Belial. I just can't remember the name of it's like Star Wars Dark something or other. You've got Dark Castle, obviously. There's a lot of low-rated games, I can't think.
So I'm calling it up here. I was switching over to the browser. 4.96 is what Dark Castle pulled up with. So that's still pretty high.
That's pretty high, you know. Yeah, the lowest ones are definitely 1. So, you know, I could cheat and look at it, but I'll leave it to viewers to look at that,
awesome.
The lowest rated game. But that's only because we haven't put the worst games on Lemon Amiga.
There's like a lower threshold to keep them off.
Yeah, oh yeah, there has to be a standard. I've been going through some PD games recently, and
okay. I guess if you can get your game published in a Lemon Amiga, you've accomplished something.
Yeah, but yeah,
my games would never be published. There's no way I could pull that off. I did get one question from the internet. Where is that? On YouTube. What's the difference between Lemon Amiga and Lemon 64?
They were both created by Kim Lemon. They were both abandoned by Kim Lemon, and now they're both taken over by fans who now steward both of them separately. And in the future, there will be one host who then hosts them both, and they'll both get upgrades, and they'll both get site adjustments from one host who will take over from Kim Lemon. But for now, they're separate.
What is a Lemon 64? I'm not familiar with it.
Oh, it's just like Lemon Amiga, only for Commodore 64 games.
Oh, of course.
I
I'm
used to
thinking
have a
64-bit. I was thinking like
Yeah.
PlayStation or something. No, the 64 version. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, people, maybe you were born after I was. People of my generation, everybody had a Commodore 64. Everybody. So, yeah, that's where I first, back in the 1997, that's what I was looking at. And I've done loads of videos for that as well. If you look at the LemonTube 64 channel, I put through how to beat XYZ, Ghosts and Goblins and stuff like that.
So you mentioned LemonTube again. That's your YouTube channel. So everyone listening should go check it out. Subscribe, like, buy product, right? Is there an episode or a video you've done that you would recommend people, if they're going to watch one, they should go watch that one because you're particularly proud of it?
Yeah, Elite Frontier. I recorded it a long time ago on an old 60, so it was nice and quick. And I got into the game and I went all over the galaxy and things broke down, and I was playing an early bugged version so I could show all the bugs in it. And so it's a category of errors. But I really like that. I go all over the universe. I explore different stuff. I think it's got hundreds of thousands of views on it. I think Formula One Grand Prix has got tons of stuff, but I could have made that a million times better if I'd have done that one again. But I guess the one I'm most proud of is the Elite Frontier one, for whatever reason.
Very cool. Well, thank you for staying up late to be with us. I caught that yawn earlier.
Was it a yawn? No, that was a gasp.
Okay.
You got a comment from somebody.
Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully someday you can come to AmiWest in person. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Hey, no worries. I'm still blown away that you're asking somebody like me from Northern England to talk about stuff on an American International Amiga, conference of, me of all people. So thanks a lot for considering me and putting up with my accent.
Oh, you're fine, and thank you for what you do for the gaming community. And I mean, if you have not been to Lemon Amiga, to talking to the audience, I would go check it out. Just try to find a game you remember as a kid, or that you heard someone else talk about. All the information, all the comments, the votes, the links, the data, the manuals, it's all in there. It's absolutely fantastic resource for us, and preservation as well. Dan and I were exchanging email. I bought some Xpex glasses. I didn't get the box, but the glasses. So I was looking at Xpex games, and suggesting some tag updates so that it, like 2-player and that kind of stuff could get in there. But it's definitely an amazing resource, and it makes the community stronger. So thank you so much.
Oh, no worries. I think there are only like 6 games released. One of them's 3D Motorrad, so I won't worry about it. Just stick to Gloom. That's fine.
See you later, Dan.
No worries. Thanks a lot.
Okay, now I gotta push this button here. Okay. So again, thank you, Dan. That was a lot of fun. I appreciate it.